Alright, Trippie Redd's recent album, A Love Letter to You 5. What exactly do I think about this? So, I couldn't stream last night, your boy just too tired, but I did listen to it this morning on the Apple Air Maxes. Yes, we making bread out here. It's like, my girl bought me those for Christmas. But this is a big album because one, it is the 5th album in this like flagship series, in that there's high expectations because 1, 2, and 3 were solid albums. I wasn't really sure about Love Letter to You 4. You already know my opinions on Trippie, where I feel like his music as of late has been kind of watered down, in that he lost his whole grunge flair in his voice, kind of gone more mainstream, and perhaps that's better for the NPC music, but for me it just doesn't sound unique anymore. However, with his last couple of albums, Mansion Music and then Trip at Night, selling less than his A Love Letter to You series, and the overall perception of his career just by hip-hop fans, because he is an established artist, so of course his hype isn't at an all-time high just because there are new upcoming artists that are more active in the media, I guess. But still, he's been around, so we gotta give him his credit on that, in that most artists fall off within 2 to 3 years, but he's still here ever since 2017. I just feel like every single album, fans try to claim that this is his make or break, in that if it's a trash album or whatever, his career is gonna be over. And I myself even said this at one point, but I take that back. I feel like no matter what, he will have always some sort of relevance, just because he's kind of an icon in this newer generation of rappers. Maybe not as much as Uzi and Cardi, but someone will be tuning in every single project that he releases. But let's get into the actual music. So no one really knows if he and his girl are back together, because they did break up after he even admitted himself he cheated on her. She has 2 features on the project, so even if she is not with him anymore, she's still getting them royalties. So no matter what, she's getting the bag. So good for her. She got the clout and money. What else do you need in this life, right? Or that whole situation could have just been album promo, because A Love Letter to You was, quite frankly, a love album, obviously. Which leads me to my point that this was a pretty slow album, so I don't really expect newer fans that are into this underground lane, which is mostly hype music, mosh pit, performance type music, hard rage beats, or heavily distorted 808s. We're kind of past that entire emo rap generation. So I just really don't know if this type of music that he made, of super slow kind of guitar, again, it was like emo rap from what he made back in the day, although with the voice a little bit more, let's say, palatable, is going to resonate with the casual rap listener. However, maybe if they market it to pop fans, they'll mess with it heavy. But I'm just not in a point in my life where I need 19 love tracks. It started to blend in together. They were great songs, don't get me wrong. Like I always say, if you played it in the car with the windows down and everything, and a girl by your side who's grabbing your thigh, you might even get the sloppy toppy before you even get to the restaurant. However, if you're with your boys, everybody's gonna be telling you to turn that off the aux, and you might want to as well, because you don't want that top from them necessarily, or maybe you do, I don't know. But if you don't have these random Twitter bystanders in your ear telling you that this entire album was mid because they're chronically online Playboy Cardi subredditors, all in all, I would have to say that the project was beautiful. Definitely got me in my feels and ready to pop out that question, get on my knees. And a lot of the snippets that he dropped on his Instagram that I reacted to earlier just on the preview and I called boring, they actually sounded way better in the full quality. This album kind of reminds me of like a emo alternative 2000s band. It even had a dance hall track with Tommy Lee Sparta. And if you recall, Trippie Redd was saying that he wanted to go back to the roots of hip hop, wherein one of the songs on Took My Breath Away, which was a single that he released prior to the album with Sky, his girlfriend, or ex potentially, did in fact sound like he had like a Tupac / Ja Rule vibe in the song, with like the beautiful female singer on the chorus, and then he pitched down his voice to sound like he was on 13 different types of steroids. And so actually I think that this album wasn't even necessarily for this newer generation of fans, which are the most active on social media. So of course Trippie once again is gonna get a ton of hate and people calling the album mid just because they're not really into this slower type of music. But The older generation of rap fans might actually. But with that being said, there was one last track on the album, Trip McKnight, which was a mega grail that was definitely for all the kids because it still had this like dark rage type sound to it. And similar to the Destroy Lonely album, where that Ken Carson track at the very end, which was the only song that had a little bit more energy to it for the performances. Again, social media is gonna hate on it except for that one track. But overall, my opinion, I thought it was solid. I'm not necessarily gonna listen to all these songs on repeat because once again, it kind of started to blend together. I don't think you need like 17 love tracks in a row. It could have definitely been cut down to say 10 and been an EP. It definitely has some great love songs on there, but just again, that's not really the type of music I'm looking for. So for my purposes, it's kind of gonna be like background music while there's a party at my house or something that the females can actually listen to without vomiting their brains out. Because no offense, but all these underground rappers, most people don't have that ear. And so if I had to give it a rating, which I don't know if I can be that objective, I'd have to give it like a 6.75 because again, it did have great songs, like no misses whatsoever, but it just got repetitive. There was really only like 3 types of songs on there: love songs, the one dance hall track, and then of course Trip McKnight, which was more updated music. Although I do have to say that Trippie Redd is one of the best rappers on like rock or alternative inspired beats, because unlike Pink Tape, and I'm not hating on it whatsoever because some people do like the heavy metal type shit, but those types of beats that Trippie chose were more, let's say, just calm. Like even if you're not really tuned into the rock type scene, you can still listen to it without your ears starting to bleed. It's not so in your face like Uzi was doing with Baby Metal and Bring Me the Horizon. But just to reiterate, decent album. Just thought he could replace some of the love songs with different sounds to show some versatility. You can always have love within the subject matter, but don't always have to be super slow. But I'm just waiting to see what the internet says, because the Trippie hate mob on the internet has definitely been recruiting more than the LGBTQ. But with all that being said, it's been your boy Bobbalam signing off, writing a love letter to his ex-girlfriend, because maybe now that she's done with rappers, she might hit up a YouTuber. You never know. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about the album and what you would rate it. And of course, make sure to like and subscribe to the Bob Gang if you with it. Peace out, clap you. Nice seeing.